For Auburn, the road to Omaha begins here at the Hoover Met for the SEC tournament. Entering the postseason and the tournament as the 6th seed, Auburn faces Texas A&M in the second round for their first game. This year marked the 31st appearance for the Auburn Tigers in the SEC tournament and only the third time that the Tigers have been ranked as the 6th seed. The late production from the Tigers set up an early lead for the Aggies. Starting on the mound, Cam Tilley sailed through his first 2 innings, which featured 3 consecutive strikeouts to retire the Aggie batters. But a 3-run homer in the third from Texas A&M's Caden Kent posted the big swing needed to hold off the Tigers. A lack of offense from Auburn left the pitching trio of Tilley, Myers, and Fisher to stay in the game. A collective 14 punch-outs and 4 hits was the final line from the 3. Facing the current SEC pitcher of the week, Auburn finally found some momentum in the 5th from Eric Snow that gave the team the first score of the game with a solo homer to left field. Holding the Aggies to 3, Auburn was 2 shy in the bottom of the 9th. With 2 outs left to play, Lucas Steele brought the Tigers within 1 after a single homer to left. Snow and Fabian flied out to advance the Aggies to the quarterfinals. The Tigers' tournament run comes to a close after the single elimination loss to the Aggies in a final of 3-2. From the Hoover Met, I'm Maddie Baughn with Eagle Eye TV. Welcoming the Tigers back to the brightest stage in college basketball, the Vanderbilt Commodores host Auburn for an SEC showdown at Memorial Gymnasium. Although the Commodores own the edge in the all-time series, Auburn is holding down 7 of the 8 last meetings. A win for the Tigers would mean a rebound for Bruce Pearl and team as they come off of their 2nd loss of the season. But a win for the Commodores would mark their 5th top 10 takedown this season.
A 12-point win over Vanderbilt still posed to be a tight road contest for the Tigers. The matchup began with a quick lead, getting the Tigers to a comfortable position, but the Commodores utilized their turnover game for a steady play of catch-up. A 15-2 scoring run for Vanderbilt led the 2 teams to be separated by 1 score and set Auburn up for a tough second-half position. However, the man of the hour kept the Tigers afloat. With a season-high first-half for senior guard Denver Jones, 12 of his 14 first-half points came from shots on the outside for 3, marking 4 out of his season-high 5 tonight. In the second half, he was able to close out his performance with another 3-pointer and 21 points total. A strong Vanderbilt team kept toe-to-toe with the Tigers, but Denver's counterpart, Kenny Johnson, was not going to let that upset happen. Holding down the second half against the Commodores, he had his own 9-0 scoring run and finished the night with a 20-point performance. 16 points in the second half alone, Johnson took the Tigers' 1-point deficit to an 8-point lead. Less than 10 minutes left to play, and the Tigers extend their lead by double digits with the help of Tahad Pettiford. A solid shot on the outside with the trip to the line put Pettiford at a 4-point play. A quiet night for Janai Boone, but not an unsuccessful one. A late start to the scoring game, he ended the night with 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks to keep the Tigers 6-0 in SEC road games.
Your final score tonight in Memorial Gymnasium, Auburn takes the win 80-68. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Maddie Baughn. Auburn baseball continues their busy home stretch with a midweek matchup against North Alabama. The Tigers and the Lions are both featuring freshmen on the mound who are making their collegiate debuts, as Andres Alvarez leads the Tigers. Alvarez was awarded Player of the Game for his stellar 5 innings on the mound. Holding the Lions to 2 runs, Alvarez left the mound with 9 punch-outs, the most by an Auburn freshman since 2014. The rest of the Auburn arms followed suit. Griffin Graves with 1 strikeout, and closer Parker Carlson shut down North Alabama with 5. This game marked the first 15-strikeout game since the 2022 College World Series. With Auburn trailing 2-1 in the 5th, efforts by freshmen drove in the leading scores. Chris Rembert with his first collegiate home run at 405 feet, and Bub Terrell with a double that brought Eric Snow back to home. The Tigers were in need of some insurance run, being up only 1 with 2 innings left in the game. Cooper McMurray and Derek Fabian were able to advance around the diamond from walks alone. A sacrifice bunt from Chase Freilich brought McMurray home. The last 2 scores of the night were driven by Terrell with a ground out to shortstop, earning an RBI of 2. Rembert's hit brought the last of the Tigers home with another Snow score. Your final at Plainsman Park, 6-2 with the Tigers on top. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Maddie Baughn. The Deep South's oldest rivalry makes its way to Neville Arena for military appreciation for Auburn gymnastics. The number 7 Georgia Bulldogs are coming off of a home win and will pose a tough competition for the Tigers. The Tigers, who just traveled to Kentucky, were handed with a loss and an injury. 5th-year senior Olivia Hollingsworth ruptured her Achilles and is out for the rest of the season. Jeff Graba and team will have to rely on the depth of their freshman and sophomore athletes, plus the roar of the jungle to make the upset happen tonight.
This down to the final routine meet opened with Auburn trailing from their efforts on vault, with Shoemaker and Hubbard leading the lineup with 9.875s each. The first rotation saw a Bulldog lead with strong sticks on bars. Transfer Alex Irvin holding down the leading spot for the Tigers with her event title score of 9.95 on bars. She states hitting her handstands was the determining factor in her score. All Auburn athletes received a 9.8 or better, which pushed the Tigers to the lead after the second rotation. Zankin and Gross 9.9s on beam were not enough to compete with Georgia's 3 consecutive 9.9s on floor. The Tigers head into their floor routines with a 1/10 of a point trail. Jeff Graba stated that he has a lot of confidence in this Tigers floor squad, and rightfully so. Zankin opened with a 9.9, Bell tied her career high with a 9.925, and Grief scored her new career best at 9.9. In the anchor spot, Sophia Groth is back on the mat after a rest week. Tonight, she's faced with insane pressure of breaking the tie to secure the win. A near-perfect routine led Groth to a season-best score of 9.95 that put the Tigers on top and the event title. The Bulldogs head home with a record season high score of 197.2, while Groth and the Tigers celebrate their 197.3.
For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Maddie Baughn. An hour up the state, the men continued their Tour de Louisiana with a Tiger versus Tiger contest at LSU. With the doubles point going to the purple and gold, Auburn's singles lineup was put to the test. Once again, Furcina, Blades, Hang, and Nazardinov proved why Auburn is the better Tiger with a 4-3 win over LSU. Well, it's beginning to look a lot like homecoming here at Baylor. Caroline, what are your thoughts about these floats? Let's go take a look and see what everyone's doing. One really neat part of this float is the tank. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So ATO's philanthropy is actually Coho, who was a ATO in 2016 and graduated from Baylor.
Here, y'all have used engineers to help with your float. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Yeah, basically there's like a moving part, we use a thing called a linear actuator. It's got like a little hydraulic. We put it in the back of the truck like that, and it kind of just shoots up. You can't see it right now, but there's a ladder that goes across, and we're basically just moving the ladder up and down with a little bear, like a little fire ladder.
I'm here with Pi Phi and Phi Chi. Can you tell us a little bit about your float?
Yes, it's called Never Too Old for Green and Gold, and it's a metaphorical representation of the Baylor College experience, comparing that experience to a life that's too good to be true, also known as Neverland.
Maddie Baughn here at Arrowhead Stadium for a Big 12 battle against Kansas and TCU. Although Kansas is having a lot of displacement this season due to stadium renovations, head coach Lance Leipold states that they will have to play their best football when the best is needed. Coming off of 3 fourth-quarter heartbreaking losses, Kansas hopes to create those 3 to 5 explosive plays in order to take control of this game and get his team back on track. Big 12 battle here at McLean Stadium, Baylor versus Oklahoma State. A lot of stakes up for today's game, both teams resting at a 3-4 record with Baylor leading with 1 win in this conference. Now it's been 2 years and Baylor has not won a conference game at home. On their way to their 5-game losing streak, Baylor hopes to defend their home field today. Baylor is one of 2 schools that has access to this AI technology that helps track eye movements, keep up with progressions, and even take a look at some coverage for these upcoming games with their quarterbacks. A lot on the line here for today's game. Catch us for kickoff 2:30 on ESPN+. Before we get into softball, Auburn baseball is in action right now against Samford at home in Plainsman Park. The score is currently 11-1 with the Tigers up in the bottom of the 5th. On to Auburn softball, the team took a trip to Rocket City this past weekend and hit it out of the park. Although starting the Rocket City Showcase with a 5-1 loss to Louisiana Tech on Friday, Auburn bounced back with a doubleheader on Saturday. The Tigers faced North Alabama for the first game that featured Caitlin McCary's 100th career hit, along with her second home run. The Tigers won 2-1 against the Lions and made their way back to the win column. Saturday's second game against Miami, Ohio secured the pair of wins for Auburn's doubleheader. Rose Roach getting the Tigers out in the lead as she scored 4 runners on her 2 hits. For the final scores, Analia Adams hit a left field bomb for a 2-run play to make the final 11-6. The Tigers' Sunday finale against a tough competitor, Jacksonville State, was a slow start for the offense. In the 4th inning, Anna Wallers breaks the silence with a home run. Tied in the bottom of the 8th, freshman Analia Adams closes the trip to Rocket City with a walk-off win 3-2. Up next, the number 17 team is back in Jane B. Moore for the first time in 2 weeks to host the Jane B. Moore Memorial Tournament. The Tigers open on Friday with Rutgers, following with McNeese State. The Saturday schedule features Louisiana and McNeese State, with the Sunday closer against Louisiana.